Hello and welcome to Mike TV Primetime News. I am Teresa Adeyemi. The Nigerian Police Council has confirmed the appointment of Kayode Egbetokun as the 22nd Substantive Inspector General of Police. This was disclosed by the Minister of Police Affairs, Senator Ibrahim Gaidam, after the council meeting presided over by the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at the State House, Abuja. The council members, however, expressed strong expectations that the new IGP has the capacity to carry out government reforms that will boost the fight against insecurity across the country. The governor of Ogun State, Akwabiodun, also said IGP Egbetokun highlighted some of the reforms that are key to tackling security challenges in Nigeria, including the need for technology-driven and community-based policing and improved budget provision.
Based on our records and what we have practically seen in him, he has a very rich CV. He has attended several police and security courses, and he is eminently actually qualified to be confirmed as a policeman. During my short period of time of stay as a police, Minister of Police Affairs, I have worked closely with him. I found him to be very qualified, very honest, very transparent, and very hardworking. So we supported Mr. President's proposal, and
it was the decision of the council that confirming him now will give him the necessary, confidence to lead his men. And apart from the confirmation, we also talked. The president is also desirous of security sector.
So I believe very strongly that so far, with the few months that the IG has demonstrated as acting IG, it is clear that he knows what is happening in this country. He is concerned about the challenges that we are having.
The police also came up, and I'm sure this committee of 4 or 5 will look at these critical issues that border on reforms. It was observed that there has been no reform no meaningful reform since the establishment of the Nigerian police force, which some of us found very shocking. But I'm sure that with these experienced men that will be sitting down, they will come up with ideas that will lead to reforms that will now characterize the new Nigerian police force. Thank you very much.
President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday, during a closed section of the Nigerian Police Council meeting, asked the presidential villa Abuja intervened in the ongoing political conflict in Rivers State. Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed, who briefed alongside other governors, said with the president's intervention, peace is expected to return to Rivers State. He added that PDP governors at the meeting commended the president for his fatherly and broad leadership qualities. The Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his predecessor and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, who were reportedly at the heart of the political crisis that blew open in the capital of Rivers State, Port Harcourt, on Monday, were seen in the council chambers of the State House.
We had a closed session, if you recall, members of the press, where a very serious national issue was discussed that has security implication. That is the problem emerging in Rivers. The president, in his usual leadership position, intervened, and then it would appear there will be peace in that respect. And so in that token, the governors of the PDP, on their behalf, I spoke and extolled the leadership quality of the president, congratulated him on behalf of the president, and expressing appreciation that all the PDP governors who had gone through the tribunal have emerged victorious. We know that is leadership. There was professionalism in the conduct and the way and manner the judiciary is working under his leadership. And he has shown that he is a president for everybody, a president for PDP, a president.
To the National Assembly, where the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Bill of about 2.176 trillion naira represented by President Bola Tinubu was held second reading in the House of Representatives. The Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, while reading the communication at plenary, said the supplementary budget is aimed at addressing labor wage adjustment, security, and other matters. Aside the supplementary budget, President Tinubu also sent to the House the 2024 to 2026 supplementary budget is the Speaker of the House, Tajuddin Abbas, while reading the communication at plenary, said the supplementary budget is aimed at addressing labor wage adjustment, security, and other matters. Aside the supplementary budget, President Tinubu also sent to the House the 2024 to 2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. House of Representatives correspondent Linda Ike, however, reports that out of the total sum, 210 billion naira was earmarked for wage award, 400 billion naira for cash transfer to vulnerable households, and 200 billion to be for seed, agricultural imports, and equipment. There is also 100 billion naira slated for projects in Abuja, 604 billion naira for national security and defense, and 300 billion naira for the maintenance of bridges across Nigeria.
And we are also looking into it. If there's a need to increase it, we can. If there's a need to leave it like that, we can leave it like that. But I think it's well presentable, and the president has also introduced about 200 billion to close the gap of 35,000 increasement, which he has promised to the civil servants. And for works, it's critical roads across 6 geopolitical zones, from north, west, south, and everywhere in this country, as well as the housing deficit. From what we have seen so far, the president wants to construct 42,000 housing across 6 geopolitical zones. So likely it's going to be more than 200,000 to 300,000 units.
In another development, the House of Representatives has urged the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Ekpetoki, to identify the killers of a core member, Ms. Sheila Grace Silas, and bring their assailants to book. The House also urged the IGP to ensure the speedy delivery of justice of the case. Moving the motion at plenary on Tuesday, Honorable Benny Lai from Plateau State noted that Sheila, who was the only child of his parent, was killed on Wednesday, October 18 in Kaduna by unknown persons. House of Representative correspondent Linda Ike report Lai, who is also the sponsor of the motion, urged that the oversight on security should be strengthened.
Chalia was gruesomely murdered that morning by some hoodlums. The hoodlums came to try to take her phone, and she told them they were on a motorbicycle, just 2 young men, criminals, who were on a motorbike, and demanded for Chalia's phone. And Chalia said, "Why should I give you my phone?" Without answering her, they pulled out a knife and stabbed her, and they killed her instantly. So her body was in a pool of blood, and they drove off and left her dead. Now, the family, as you can tell, are devastated.
The federal government has called for collaborative effort with state government in order to improve the tourism sector and encourage more students in the understanding of the nation's history and cultural heritage. The Director General, National Commission of Museum and Monument, Professor Abba Issa Tijani, while speaking at the convergence of stakeholders in the tourism sector in Lagos, enjoined every tourist attraction centers to upgrade their museum to international standard and work on creating the necessary awareness of the museum in order to attract visitors from outside the country and in the country. Professor Abawu reiterated the government's commitment in establishing new museums and collaborate with different countries, noted that the new museums will be digitalized and connect with metropolitan museums in New York. On his part, the head boy of the Extra Marketing and Supply, Oluwadunsi Oluwasuji, encouraged public-private partnership. An event safety expert, Dr. Wale Adeboje, implored tourism owners to harness the resources in the tourism industry for the creation of jobs and increase internally generated revenue of the state.
What we are doing is not just for federal, but the state actually they are supposed to play more role, because they are, at the end of the day, they are the ones that are benefiting this. Because when museums are in the cities, they attract tourism. So when tourists come to the state, it is for the benefit of the state. So it is important that we partner with the states, and in doing so, also as part of our mandate, is to also attract school children. So we have programs for school children. We have museum education department. So school children visit museums. We also visit schools to go and interact with the children and let them know about our cultural heritage, about our history. So we get a lot of school visits as well.
We're preaching not just tourism, we're preaching integrated tourism, that there has to be a handshake across sectors to make Lagos work. So the private sector has to meet the public sector to make Lagos special. So that's what this event is about, celebrating the people, the places, the institutions, and the experiences that make Lagos beautiful, that make Lagos amazing, that make Lagos special, that add value to Lagos, that bring people to Lagos, make them settle into Lagos, make them not.
The Consul General of India in Nigeria, Chandra Molikan, says Nigeria is one of the country's largest trading partners as he reiterated a stronger tie between Nigeria and India in order to promote their culture and strengthen their trading power. While declaring the prayer to the goddess Mara La Jagran by Shan-E Punjab Association of Nigeria in Lagos, the Consul General highlighted all the ways of partnering together through trade and exchange of culture. Khan noted that the annual prayer section is for growth of both India and Nigeria. The president of Shan-E Punjab Association of Nigeria, Narendra Rajuk, stated that the Nigerian and the Indian government are doing a great collaboration in the trading sector, which also reflects in strengthening their relations. On his part, the vice president of the group, Dr. Groval Anil, said that the prayer section is being held every year before the World Festival in order to cast away all unforeseen evils that may arise during the festival.
India to Nigeria, this is the cultural strength which is being brought. India and Nigeria has very strong bilateral relationship, politically, economically, culturally. We are all aligned. We are aligned for so many decades. We are here before the independence of Nigeria, and we have very strong relationship between them.
I'm here for the last 23 years, my relation with Nigerian people and Nigerian country. I feel there is a lot of similarities between both the countries, and both the countries have a lot to gain as far as culture is concerned, as far as economic growth is concerned, and love and affection, which I think the values we carry together. So I believe there is a lot which Nigeria has to gain from India, and India has to gain from Nigeria.
Similarities in the people of Indian origin as well as Nigerian. Both the people believe, both are God-fearing people, correct? Both the countries, whether it is a Christian, whether it is a Muslim, or we are Hindus, we believe in God. And we always believe in the power of prayer. So today, this event, this evening, this night vigil prayer service is organized for the peace, happiness and security and prosperity of each and everybody who is here.
Here in Lagos, the state government has again emphasized the urgent need to inculcate a culture of technology-driven society to reduce the growing unemployment rate in the country. The state government is also calling on the unemployed in the society to buy into the technology market in line with the current trend across the world. We're going to a quick break, and after the break, we'll be back.
Yeah, it's a peculiarity of now that Nigeria is facing this. But if you are still looking at dollar to go down before you do something, there will be trouble. So it's better for us to start thinking, where are we going? And that is what we are also. In our own ministry and government, we are always thinking every day, what are we going to do next? And that's why we are training. And education is also very important.
That the government should try as much as possible to reduce the burden of taxes on small business enterprise, the small and micro business enterprise. And of course, the people as well should try as much as possible to desist from the act of destroying government property if we must experience growth, and if we must experience employment, and if we must have a better life that we all crave to have.
My observation on this conference is that all hands has to be on the deck, on the table, to share view with the government. The government cannot do everything. We, the private sector, we can also contribute our own quota to help the government, as we also expect the government to help us.
Members of the Oyo State chapter of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria have complied with a national directive from his umbrella body to boycott their duty post. The workers who barricaded the entrance of the State House of Assembly are demanding the full implementation of financial and legislative autonomy for the legislature, as well as the unconditional assent to the Oyo State House of Assembly bill passed by the House in 2021. Chairman of the Parliamentary Union, Yemi Alade, made this development known to newsmen in Ibadan, the state capital, where he warned that failure to meet their demands would result in total legislative shutdown, as his members were more resolute than ever before.
Our message to them is we have to appeal to them in the sense that this issue is a constitutional provision. Even I don't know why the major problem you have is the issue of Nigeria's governorship. I want to believe that, because I know some of these governors may want to do it, but maybe there may be a unanimous decision within them. I don't want to do this thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't know the reason why the governors say they don't want to give autonomy to the House. Firstly, it is a direct attack on the Constitution of Nigeria.
Still in the southwest, the Osun State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, says one of the best ways to engender meaningful growth in the society is for the privileged to prioritize timely support intervention for the poor, the weak, and the physically challenged. Governor Adeleke stated this in Ede Town during an empowerment program for the less privileged, widow, and the physically challenged. The beneficiaries in their hundreds were gifted different items which comprises buses, sewing and grinding machines, refrigerators, and others, including cash gifts, startup capital to enlarge the cost of their businesses. The sponsor of the empowerment initiative, who is the governor's elder sister, Yeyelua Dupe Sani, attributed the gesture to the need to complement the state government in its drive to empower the people, particularly women.
This is a challenge to all well to do Osun resident, home and abroad. We must support the poor, the weak, and the challenged. Society grows best when we love your neighbors as ourselves.
The motive behind today's program is that this is our family tradition. Apart from being our family tradition, I did it today to appreciate all the women of Osun State. They were very good. They worked so hard.
The national president of Patriot Anti-Corruption Initiative, Stephen Chigozie Ibe, has kicked against the sudden increase on the storage charges by the port concessionaries. Chigozie Ibe, while speaking with newsmen, maintained that there is no justification for port concessionaires to re-increment and port charges, which he termed as corrupt practices and a fraudulent way of ripping off Nigerians. The Tea Party president noted that if the port concessionaires are willing to increase the port operation charges, there should have been due consultation with all relevant stakeholders, particularly the importers, before such move could be agreed upon. On his part, the spokesperson of the union, Humphrey Okocha, said the issue of storage charges should be a no-go area inasmuch as there are various bottlenecks created by concessionaire to make money.
Concerning the sudden surge in increase in corruption due to corrupt activities of the port operators, which have led to the sudden increase in port charges, such as general port charges and the storage, that is rent. When I'm talking about illustrating it, because some people may not understand. Rent means after, that's why I said what I said earlier. If they increase their operational charges, I don't think we will be crying like this, but where we are particularly pointing at is the storage charges.
The internet is not there. The job you need to release now, you will not release it. And they will not give you concession because it's not your fault, but it will still build up on your rentage and build up on your damages you pay. Because everything that happens, every mistake that happens, fall back on importer. Weekend they don't work, you pay rent. Public holiday.
And that's all from the local scene tonight. We go on a quick break to bring you foreign stories. Please stay tuned. Welcome back now to foreign stories. Dozens of people were reportedly killed after a blast at the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza on Tuesday, with the Hamas-run health ministry and the hospital director saying that at least 50 people were killed. The IDF said its ground forces were attacked by terrorists with anti-tank missiles and machine gun fire. Israel has been bombing Gaza since the 7th of October Hamas attacks that killed 1,400 people and so at least. Meanwhile, protesters calling for a ceasefire in Gaza interrupted U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken during a Senate hearing on Tuesday. Numerous people stood in the crowd that repeatedly yelled, "Ceasefire now." Secretary Blinken and U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin were testifying about the White House $106 billion national security funding request. It includes $14.3 billion to support Israel's military's effort against Hamas. Standing up one by one, protesters waited for Mr. Blinken to begin his testimony before shouting over him again.
Vice Chair Collins, distinguished members of the Appropriations Committee, thank you for this opportunity to testify before you today.
Populated areas. Stop supporting the genocide and ethnic cleansing.
Stop the war! Stop the ceasefire now! Stop funding this brutal massacre that Israel is doing on the people of Gaza! Ceasefire now!
In the meantime, the U.S. has rejected global calls for a ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinian group Hamas. Speaking at a press briefing, National Security spokesperson John Kirby made the comment suggesting instant pauses to allow aid to be delivered inside Gaza. But Israel has vowed there will be no ceasefire until Hamas is dismantled, while Kirby said he was confident more aid trucks will be able to enter Gaza via Egypt.
Straight to the White House, NSC spokesperson John Kirby addressing the briefing room.
In the call with Prime Minister Netanyahu did receive a commitment that the Israelis will endeavor to support a significant increase in the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza, so additional trucks. So we had 45 or so get in yesterday. We're hoping that we can get some more in today, but obviously, even with the increase, it's going to take time to make up the difference, and we know there's an awful lot that needs to happen to accelerate and do.
And up next is sport-related stories. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Now talking sports. Saudi Arabia is set to host the men's 2034 World Cup after Australia decided against bidding to stay the tournament only hours before FIFA's deadline for declaration of interest. On Tuesday, Saudi Arabia is the only other nation to bid. Australia's governing body says it intends to focus its effort on hosting the AFC Women's Asian Cup in 2026 and the Club World Cup in 2029. And still talking sports, Stephen Curry scored 42 points in 30 minutes fast. The Golden State Warriors improved to a 3-love on the road with a 130-102 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion Williamson helped New Orleans keep it close in the first half but got into foul trouble in the third quarter. Chris Paul scored 13 points off the bench, leading Golden State on a 13-1 run at the end of the third quarter that gave the Warriors a 98-78 lead. And with that, we draw the curtain on the Primetime News tonight. From the entire news crew, I am Teresa Adeyemi. Do have a great night and many thanks for watching. Good night.